Joe Biden, his international joke, in case any Americans are wondering. I mean, I don't know if there was ever any respect for him outside the United States, as I like this weird guy who kind of follows Obama around. But especially after Afghanistan and all the rest of it, he is just like openly joked about, apparently in British cabinet, which is the best part. So let's get into this. So the first thing here being Biden apparently falling asleep at a press conference with the Israeli PM, the new one, because they got rid of Netanyahu. And you can see the footage here. It's like 20 odd seconds. And from the camera angle, you can see the Israeli PM trying to talk to Biden, and Biden sitting in his chair snoozing off because it's been a hard day. I mean, I feel you, buddy. I want to sleep sometimes too, but maybe not when you're meeting someone else's prime minister. So there are a lot of memes made out of this. So we go to the next one. You can see some people making good memes. Average conversation fan trying to do conversation. Average sleep enjoyer having a much better time of it. Yeah. Apparently, this is fake news. So if we go to the next one, you can see that a video of Joe Biden meeting with Israeli prime minister is misleading. Cropped fact checkers and journalists say. Don't really trust them, but if you go to the next one, there is just the footage the Israelis released of another camera angle, and you can see in the section where he appears to fall asleep, because it's high quality, you can just about see his eye being open, and then he does respond to him after the 20 seconds of having a little bit of a moment, and it is true that he's not asleep, but, I mean, good God, barely. I mean, Biden, even at the best of times, there's no brain on, so, I mean, he might as well be asleep, but whatever. That's the truth of the situation. So we go to the next one. Of course, there's the bomb that went off in Kabul, killing a bunch of Afghans and also 13 US soldiers. Apparently, the bodies of the 13 US soldiers has now arrived back in Dover for Biden and the families to, I suppose, accept and bury. Because what else are you going to do? And you can see Biden there tending, which was, I thought, ballsy of him.
Yeah, considering this could be blamed on him, really, and his extension of the withdrawal. I mean, I'm always apprehensive blaming deaths on someone, but I think, yeah.
You had Trump's plan to withdraw by May, you delayed it, and then bungled the situation. I'm going to put the blame on him for this one. So we go to the next one here. You can see some of the photos, so you can see like some of the mothers down there, having a tough time, which you would understand. If you go to the last photo on this section, you can see, this is the photo that came out of this situation. A moment you would have thought would have been briefed a million times of just, okay, we look terrible. Let's make our best, make sure that, okay, we're going to go down there. We're going to, seem like we're taking responsibility by standing with the families as the bodies come back. No, there's a moment in which he just checks his watch for the time, being like, how long have I been here? I can't think of any worse optics than being the 13 US soldiers who everyone's blaming you for the deaths of, and their mothers crying at the corpses, and you sat there with your watch out. I
mean, the most charitable thing you could potentially say would be that maybe that was a photo of him on the way to meet them and he was making sure he was on time.
It wasn't. It was, you see the hand there? That's from the footage earlier, so with his hand up like this.
Oh, right. So he is actually, when they're being loaded off,
when he was putting his hand back, he's still, I'll just check my watch. I've been here for an hour. So, yeah, do I have to be here much longer?
That's a fair point.
Yeah, so it is a fair criticism. He does do it very fast, but he did actually do it. And, you would have surely been briefed a million times about how to look good in this situation. But
that's definitely not it.
Apparently not. So some of the family are quite rightly, in my opinion, really angry at Biden specifically and Democratic voters. And one mother called up a radio station to talk about this, as it seems. So this is New York Post reporting. Mum of a Marine who died in Kabul attack. Biden voters killed my son. So the quote's from her. Just going to make sure this is not my opinion, because some of these quotes are going to upset a few people in Silicon Valley. 20 years and 6 months old, getting ready to go home from freaking Jordan to be home with his wife and watch the birth of his son. That feckless, dementia-ridden piece of crap just sent my son to die, she told Wilkno, the radio show she called in on. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning, Miss McCollum said. 2 Marines were at my door telling me that my son was dead. I just want you, all Democrats who, I don't know if I can say that, C-word in the election. I think we can know what the C-word is. Who voted for him, or voted for him legitimately. You've killed my son, she claimed. Quote, with a dementia-ridden piece of crap who doesn't even know that he's in the White House, who still thinks he's a senator. So I'm going to try and calm down. Sorry. So that was her calling up the radio station to be like, yeah, this dementia-ridden idiot who I'm sure legitimately got voted into office, he's got my son killed. She blames Biden directly for it. So that's the situation there, which is not great. But that's only the opinion of the families who knew their son and, have lost them. Let me ask the opinion of the journos. Far more valid. Who's to blame for the deaths of 13 service members in Kabul? We all are.
What? Really?
You and me, folks. And you. You're to blame for this as well. Not even American, but I'm sure we're all to blame as well. Who's not on that list? Presumably Biden. Biden's the one man out of the human race who can't be blamed for this situation. I mean, such obvious cope. If we go to the article, so this is in here, and I just took a section in which he tries to rationalize his blaming of everyone. And how does he do it? Well, he just says Trump did it. Trump's fault. In a sense, the fuse bomb that exploded on Thursday was lit 18 months ago. That was when Trump, with bipartisan support, concluded a terrible troop withdrawal deal that freed 5,000 Taliban terrorists and sapped the morale of our Afghan allies. Trump made scant provision to save Afghan who had fought with our troops. I was like, yeah, okay, Trump.
So
it's Trump's fault.
If Trump's to blame, but we're also all to blame, does that mean that we're all Donald Trump then?
Based.
We are all Trump. It's not what's on the outside, it's what's here.
It's such obvious cope. It also doesn't make any goddamn sense because the 18 months ago, why 18? Why not less? Why did they not leave on, what was it, May 1? Whatever the date was that Trump picked. Why was it delayed? Because of Biden. He is the one who made that call. He did not have to make that call. They already said we're going to leave by this date. We already told the Afghans we're going to leave by this date. And they already told Taliban we're going to leave by this date, which is why they hadn't killed anyone in 18 months. They hadn't killed any Americans. Killed plenty of Afghans because the civil war is still going on and will continue to go on. And also the point he says that it's 5,000 Taliban terrorists who were released in the peace deal is to blame for this. I'm not even sure if that's true. I mean, number one, it wasn't Taliban according to the Americans who did this. It was ISIS-K.
Didn't the Taliban disavow the attack as well?
Yeah,
Didn't
we're going to leave that debate there for a minute.
Not going to take them at their word for anything, but even so, they're outwardly presenting themselves in that way.
But I don't know. Someone please tell me in the comments. But I thought I remember they signed this in the agreement that the Afghan authorities would release those guys from Afghan prisons. And in response, the Afghan government, who wasn't even invited to the talks in Doha, said sod off. So I don't know, but fact check me on that one. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I just found that was really funny in the talks in Doha. It was just like, yeah, we're going to have a peace deal with the Taliban. Should we call up the Afghan government? Nah. I mean, it's like the Munich Agreement where we didn't invite Czechoslovakia to the talks and then just agreed that the Sudeten land belonged to the Germans. Yeah, anyway. So if we move on from this, there's, of course, some other fallout here. So this is one guy in the American military who decided to make a video talking about his time and the fact that he's really, really annoyed with the accountability within the chain of command going to Biden as the commander-in-chief, as they like to call themselves. I have been fighting for 17 years. I am willing to throw it all away to say that to my senior leaders. I demand accountability. Marine Lieutenant Corporal Stuart Scheller. Sorry about the name. So he's upset about the failures in Afghanistan. And what happened to him? He got fired.
Really? For criticising...
Well, you're not meant to. If you're a US soldier, you're not allowed to do this. He would have known the costs. He said, I'm willing to throw it away. Too cool for accountability. And he left. I do love the person who rear-ended this. And if we can click on that just to make it a bit bigger. The Nike slogan, believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. Well, this guy did. Colin Kaepernick, not so much.
I think he was right to do so, though. I mean, it's one of those things where how could you continue if you could see the chain of command being so incompetent and you can't even say anything about it?
Yeah.
And it's your life on the line, ultimately.
Him making the point about accountability as well. He's the only man who has currently been fired for the failures in Afghanistan.
For criticising the government.
I can agree that it's not a soldier's place to do this under normal circumstances, but I'm sure he would argue very abnormal stances, which I can see his point. Anyway, so if we go ahead to this, Biden has been walking around doing more stuff. What has he been doing? Well, he went to FEMA because there's a storm on the way. Because the storm on the way in New Orleans is apparently coming in. And so he went to FEMA and was giving some press conference about how I'm going to fix it. Who believes this crap? Anyway, so he said at the end of it, I'm not supposed to take any questions, but go ahead to one of the reporters. And then he responded after the reporter was like, I want to ask you about Kabul airport. He responded, I'm not going to answer questions on Afghanistan. Okay, yeah. So here's the clip, if we can play this clip.
Commissioner, I really think it all works I'm not supposed to take any questions, but go ahead.
Mr. President, on Afghanistan.
I'm not going to answer Afghanistan now.
Can you say if there's still an acute
Okay.
risk of like this?
Okay, so there is President Biden there at FEMA headquarters in D.C.
It's also really awkward for people listening. Like, he just bangs the table and go, I'm not going to take any questions in Afghanistan. And, like, turns, but then doesn't know where he's got to walk because he's not in the White House press room or whatever it is. So he just turned around and just, like, stands there with his back to the person who asked him the question. He's continuing to, like, oh, okay, I'll ask a different question. I know it's over. And he's just, like, standing like a child. He's like, if I don't see it, it's not real.
It reminds me of the Mighty Boosh. Have you ever seen that? I'm going to turn my back on you. And then it's just really anticlimactic. It does nothing. No.
Yeah, I mean, that is what happened. And then eventually some handler's like, yeah, you can probably, like, scully off down there or something. And then he sods off. Yeah, not taking any question on Afghanistan. Not going to answer. Not interested. No accountability. Yeah, I mean, that's correct assessment from the guy who's now lost his job for asking for accountability there. What a show. But the last thing here to mention is probably the New Orleans storm that's coming in. So New Orleans, as I'm told people say there. Or at least I'm told from Dead Island. So this is the Guardian reporting Monday briefing. New Orleans in the eye of the storm again. So some hurricane that comes against the south of the United States, which they do all the time. And the fact that it's going into New Orleans specifically, becoming the eye of the storm. And I've seen some people making the point. It's like he's trying to speed run the Bush presidency. You know, he's only got 4 years. So he's like, oh, I guess we'll do it. Well, you know, destroy New Orleans, bungle some stuff in the Middle East. I don't know when the 9/11's happening, but presumably soon, considering there's far more Islamic terror in the world now. Thanks, buddy. But yeah, that's the situation with Biden, and my assessment that I probably think he's just counting down the clock at this point.
I mean, when even senior UK officials are calling Biden names, I mean, even Tony Blair came out of the woodwork and called him an imbecile.
Yeah, I thought I had included it. I seem to have forgotten. But there was, as you mentioned, some people in the British cabinet started to refer to him as Sleepy Joe and dementia idiot or whatever the hell else the other terms were. And Biden had been told about this, so he released a statement saying, I will remember that. Which, of course, just sounds like, I don't have dementia, I'll remember it. I was like, no, you won't. Come on.
The most empty threat ever.
The dementia patient is threatening that he'll remember that you insulted him. Okay, sure, fine. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Doesn't Biden hate the UK anyway? Like, he always mentions that he's genetically Irish whenever the UK is mentioned. Just like, oh, yeah.
We didn't ask you about Ireland or if you're Irish. We just said, we're from the BBC. I'm Irish. Okay. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I really think he's just counting down the clock, as I said, because, well, I mean, look at him. I mean, you saw a while back when the situation on the ground was changing rapidly, him not able to keep up with it because he was too busy trying to find a nap he could take. And then his press secretary even looking like, oh, crap, I can't deal with this. And the entire regime is just kind of looking at the situation, I think, and just being like, right, let's just get a pint and wait for it to blow over almost. But instead of doing a Chad thing of getting a pint, they're just kind of bumbling around, being like, what if we just ignore all the questions? I know the Taliban are taking many, but we're not going to take any. Yeah.
He should be in a pair of slippers, in a rocking chair with a blanket over his legs, retired, not in the Oval Office.
I mean, whoever his handlers are, they're very cruel men, quite frankly. That guy should really be enjoying the farm. Thank you for watching this clip from the podcast The Lotus Eaters. If you want more from us, please go over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to get access to all the premium content that we have on the site.
Yeah, we've got loads of really good stuff there. So we've been doing this for quite some time. So we've got a huge library of content in various different categories. Now, some of my favorites have been the book clubs. I'm personally a big fan of these because it means we get to read good books and important books, extract the useful information out of them, such as with this Roger Scruton's Where We Are, which is a very interesting conservative take on the current culture wars and the state of Britain at the moment. So we go through and explore the meaningful concepts. And here's one that you and Bo did with Frank Dicotta's Mao's Great Famine. It's absolutely brilliant and harrowing to read. And so when all the comments on this were happened to be, well, this was vile, we knew we'd done a good job with it. And we also have many other premium series like the Contemplations, where Hugo and Josh just go through and find something very interesting to talk about, such as this one talks about the idea of political representation and does it work, or is it a bit of a myth? And of course, we have the history content, which probably my personal favourite in this particular one. Myself and Bo talked about the achievements of Frankish warlord Charles Martel. Do you know what he's famous for, Callum?
stopping the Muslims at Tours.
That's right. And we also do a bunch of premium videos, and interviews and things like this. So in this one, we happen to have an interview with Michael Malice, who's a very, very charming guest, and I very much enjoyed this one. And we also do a bunch of premium podcasts about stuff that perhaps isn't appropriate for YouTube or various other platforms like that because of, some things outside of their editorial bounds.
So if you'd like to get access to all that premium content, please go over to lotusears.com and subscribe for as low as £5 a month. Thank you.